Okay, here's our Stoic problem walkthrough for you. So step one will always be find the value they give you in the problem that you're going to convert into something else. So in this case, you have 200 grams of sodium hydroxide. So that becomes your starting point on your molar roadmap. So grams, if you look, you're always going to start on this side. Grams would be right here, mass. So this is our starting point. And then your second step will be to find what do they ask you for. So in this case, it's grams of sodium sulfate. So that is going to be your end point. Now notice that you have two different chemicals. You have sodium hydroxide as your starting point, so that's A. If this was the same chemical, then you'd stay on A. But since it's a different chemical, you're going to find whatever it is on the B side of things. So B is going to be the sodium sulfate, and since they want grams, grams is your mass right here. So this is where you start, this is where you end, and that means your path is from here to here, over to here, and down here. Okay, so now that you know your path, you can figure out the top of your conversion bridge from the circles along the path. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 circles along the path. Those become the top of our conversion bridge. So let me show you that. Let me see how I'm going to do this though. So here's my conversion bridge. It has 1, 2, 3, 4 tops, 1, 2, 3, 4 circles. The first circle says grams of chemical A, and if you recall, chemical A is sodium hydroxide. So I'm going to put NaOH grams from here. Then it's moles of chemical A. So it's going to be NaOH moles. And then my next bubble is moles of chemical B, which chemical B, or what they were asking about, is that sodium sulfate. So it's moles Na2SO4. And then finally, here we have our mass B, or grams of B, the chemical we're looking for. So it'll be grams of sodium sulfate. So that's how you come up with the top of the conversion bridge, right? Straight from the bubbles along your pathway, or circles, however you want to look at it. Okay, so then to get the bottom of your conversion bridge, you just drag everything diagonally. So this is here, I'm going to write it here. This is here, I'm going to write it here. This is here, I'm going to write it here. Okay, then you always write the number that you're given in the problem, which we're given in the problem 200 grams. The number you're given always goes in the top left. And then each of these top and bottom sections come from the in-between here. So your first in-between is 1 by the mole and the molar mass by grams. So 1 by the mole, and then we need the molar mass of sodium hydroxide. Let's see. I did not bring a periodic table over here. You'd think I'd edit that out, but I'm not going to. All right, so on my periodic table here, I need to find my sodium, which is going to be 23. So I am, let's see, 23 plus 16 for oxygen plus 1 hydrogen, so that is 40. So my molar mass is 40. Again, you can also just look those up if you're comfortable with that, because adding those up every time is kind of a pain. Okay, then we are at the second one, which is this second middle part here. So this is coefficients from the balanced equation. So if you look at your balanced equation, you are going to see that sodium sulfate has no number in front of it, which is the same as having a 1. And you're going to see that sodium hydroxide has a coefficient of 2 in front of it. And so 2. And so that's where those come from. Okay. And then finally, you have your last conversion factor, which is 1 by the mole. Oh, wow. I totally drew this path the wrong way. Oops. Like I can't follow simple lines. So this is your last conversion factor, 1 mole in the molar mass. Okay. Anyway, so 1 by the mole. Mole's down here. And then the molar mass here would be 2 sodium, so that's 23 times 2 plus a sulfur. Sulfur is 32, and really 32.1. And let's see, lost my spot. 4 oxygens. So, here's me doing mental math on the fly. Let's see, that's going to be 40. It's another 24, so 64. Here, and then a 32.1, and then a 46. So you are looking at, this would be a great time for you guys to fast forward, or just chuckle at my incredibly slow math. 12, 1. Looks like 142. 142.1 grams is the molar mass of sodium sulfate. So now you've set everything up. All you have to do is punch this through on your calculator, which again I did not bring over here. So you take your first number and then multiply by anything that's on top, divide by anything that's on bottom, and just keep going along that way. Anything that's a 1, you skip. So on my calculator, I am going to take 200, and I skip the 1, so I'm going to divide by 40. And then times 1, but I skipped that, divided by 2, so I'm going to take 2 and divide by it. And then I'm going to multiply by 142.1, and I don't have to worry about this 1 on the bottom because you don't do anything with 1. So 142.1. And so my answer is 355.3 if you round up. Now, your answer always needs units in the chemical, and that's always at the top right. So this is going to be grams of Na2SO4. Okay, so that is your walkthrough. Feel free to let me know if I screwed anything up on there, and fast forward through all the weird stuff.